So get back to the accident. I'm in the accident. My knee hits the dashboard. I'm looking around. I'm dazed. I think it knocked me out for a few minutes because when I woke up, everything was blurry and I was already hearing sirens in the background and, cop cars pulling up and people poking their head in the window. And you say, so I start hearing all the ambulances, everything coming, and I go to get out of the car and I feel fine. I don't feel any pain at all. It's a lot of adrenaline going there, very hyped up, heart beating fast, adrenaline pumping moment. And so I go to get out of the car and it's just like instantly this pain it literally felt like a lightning bolt, like hit me in the top of the head. Like literally when I started to get up, I saw that flash of lightning in my eyes and I passed out for a little bit from the pain. At least I think I did because I felt that flash when I was pulling myself up like this. And then I came back to and I was slumped down. So I guess I passed out for a little bit. And so I tried again and the same thing, lightning bolt through the head pain. Then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was a firefighter or a paramedic, he pokes his head in the window and he says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Man, I don't think so. I think I'm messed up." And he said, "Well, just hold tight. We're going to get you out of there." So they're working on the car and they're busting out the jaws of life and they're getting all the doors open and everything. And now I'm starting to get scared. It takes a lot to freak me out. I'm a pretty level-headed, reasonable person. When everybody else is freaking out, I'm usually the person like, "Okay, calm down. Let's take a second." And so I'm really like mentally, I'm starting to losing it. And then he said, "Okay, we're gonna have to get you out of here and put you on this backboard." And I said, "Okay." And as soon as they put their arms up under me and touch me, that lightning bolt of pain goes off in me again. And so now I'm going into shock. I'm in and out of consciousness. I'm remembering like flashes of them getting me out of the car and getting me into the ambulance. And I am freaking out, which is totally unlike me. I'm calm, cool. I'm the coolest guy in the world as far as I'm concerned. So I'm freaking out. I'm crying in pain. I'm just like full on meltdown because of the pain and how scared I am. And so they get me in the ambulance and they get me on the backboard. And all of a sudden, this supreme peace that I'd never felt before washes over me. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like this. I still to this day have never felt an inner peace and a calm like what washed over me. And so I kind of like, and I look over at my arm and they have an IV in my arm. They must have just given me morphine. That's what my logic tells me. That instant that washed over me, they must have given me the baddest morphine that has ever existed because this is great. Now that I'm in this calm and I'm chill now, I start feeling silly because just 2 minutes ago, I'm yelling and screaming and crying and acting, like a sissy or whatever, there's that ego again.
Right.
Just acting a fool. So I start feeling embarrassed for myself. And at the same time I'm feeling embarrassed for myself, I am so appreciative, like the love that I'm feeling for these firefighters and paramedics that are saving me. It was like, I can't even explain how calm and loving this feeling was. I could sit here and talk about it for hours. So I start talking to them and I start blabbering on about, "Oh, you guys are great. Y'all are American heroes. You just saved my life. I appreciate you so much. I love you. I feel silly. I know I really was. I'm sorry I was screaming and yelling like that. It was really hurting. I don't know why I freaked out that bad. I'm so sorry." These people aren't paying attention to me at all. They're not paying attention to me. And I'm just just rambling on. Nobody's paying attention to me. And then there was a female paramedic and she was adjusting my legs and she looks over like that and she gets this horrified look on her face and she goes, "We need to get his clothes off now." And I was like, "Well, okay, but you got me strapped down. I don't think it." And they just there's 3, 4 of them, I don't know, however many one of them, they start going to work. They bust out scissors and start just cutting my clothes off. Back to the vanity thing. Gene Simmons, when I was a little kid, I heard Gene Simmons in an interview say, if you want to be a rock star, you don't leave the house unless you look like a rock star. If that's what you want, you need to live it every day. And then for a 7-year-old to hear that, it stuck with me all the way out until I was 24, 25 years old. So I was dressed to the, I'm not big about bragging about money, but I had a really expensive outfit on, really expensive jewelry, custom shoes, custom tailored jeans. I had the whole rock star, get the eyebrow and the nipples pierced and earrings and, custom jewelry and all that stuff. And they start cutting all this stuff off of me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You're cutting off my gear, man. That you're just trashing a $2,000 or whatever monetary value you're asked. I was like, wait, stop. And they're not paying attention to me. They are not paying attention to me. They can't hear a word I'm saying. The lady gets my shirt off. And like I said, I had nipple piercings. And she, just as urgently as she said, we got to get his clothes off, she goes, he's got piercings. So I start, those are easy. It's like a little, just spread that apart and the ball comes out and you can slide it out. It might be, they're not paying attention to me. So now I'm starting to get concerned. I'm yelling at them like, hey, not paying attention to me. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm outside. I'm about half a mile up the street in a parking lot that I realized. I'm outside, I'm looking down, and it's noisy. Just all this, just in the pulse of the wind and everything. And then, bam, I'm out. I am somewhere else. And it was a place where it's just like the same old cliche. Like they say that time doesn't exist, space doesn't exist, all that. It does not exist. I walked through this doorway and it's like these big, beautiful double doors. It starts out as a light. There's a light and then like the light opened up and I walked through these double doors and I'm in this. Time doesn't exist, space doesn't exist. You understand everything all of a sudden. Language is not needed. You don't know, I don't know exactly where I am, but I have a feeling like it felt like a school. It felt like a place of learning, but without the penitentiary vibes that the public school system has, like when I was growing up. This was like I don't know what this place was, but it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And there was a beautiful woman. And she had her hands out. She said, we've been waiting on you. Come with us. And I know who this woman is. In this lifetime that I'm sitting here right now, I don't know who this woman is. But during this experience, I know who this woman is. And she's beautiful. And I love her. And it wasn't like, it felt like we were lovers, but without the sex aspect to it. Because we have so many things on this world that we live in that it's just not like that on the other side. We equate love with sex or, erotic moments and, and sex, it's all sweaty and hot and messy and kind of dirty. And we kind of like associate that with love. But if you could imagine the most supreme love in the world without any sex, because the love is just, it squashes all that. It squashes all those human desires and those animal instincts. Go to this woman, she leads me down this hallway, and she takes me through this doorway. And in this doorway is this choir and this band. It's like orchestral. And the choir, they can generate this sound just by swaying back and forth. And I can't even describe the sound that they were making. And I still can't, I can hear it to this day and I can't duplicate it. And I'm a damn musician. You don't have no idea how frustrating that is to be a musician and know a music theory and know all the notes and not being able to recreate the sound that's in my head, but it was gorgeous. When she took me in this room, you can look this up, you can add this in later, but the only thing on this earth that I can describe this as is it looked like the Tabernacle in Atlanta, Georgia, which the Tabernacle is an old church that's very beautiful and very ornate. It's a big stage and a floor, and it's got multiple rows of balconies. And I'm up in this place, and that's what it blows the tabernacle in Atlanta completely out of the water. But that's the only thing I can describe it that I know of to, associate with what this place might look like. And she leads me upstairs to the balcony, and we're up on the top balcony, and we're staring down at this choir and this band, and they're making this just beautiful music. And it's like they're generating it up at us. That's the only way I can describe it. I don't know. They're just sending this love and this beautiful sound to us. And me and this woman, we were up there together, and it's just love. I would say that it was something that was like, sexy or erotic or whatever, but it was just, the feeling of love was a million times more than anything that, like how you could love your wife or your kid, or, when you make love to your wife or whatever like that. Like it's indescribable. It's indescribable. And then this pillar comes down, and it just like thousands of feet tall, and it just boom and slams into the ground, and the ground breaks apart, and the ground is rocking and rolling, and you look up, and this pillar, it's like a giant sword. And it was like 1/1,000,000th of what God is showed himself to me. Just a little sliver, like not even a grain of sand. And it's the most, I don't even have words for it. I don't have words for it. It's like 1,000 foot tall of the most beautiful, terrifying, loving thing that you could possibly imagine. And then everything starts rolling, and then everything flips around, and I'm in the dark. And I'm in the dark, and one little pinprick, like prick. I don't know how old you are, but you ever seen a toy from the 80s called the Light Bright?
I don't think I have. I was born in the 80s, but I think I was a little too late.
Yeah, but it was basically a bunch of little light bulbs, and you'd put a black piece of construction paper over it, and you would poke a hole in it, and it would expose one light.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Black piece of construction paper, and I got a light behind it, and I just prick it once, and all you see is that little pinprick of light.
Okay.
It was like that. Completely dark, just boom, one little light. And it just expanded until it engulfed everything. And I could sit here because there was a lot of unconversation that went on, because like I said, there is no speech. These ideas are presented to you, you understand them, and you fire them back. I wish I could do that. Anyway, it was, you can't stay here. That was the gist of it. You can't stay here. And I'm like, I want to stay here. This is perfect. This is where I belong. I don't belong down there. And it was like, what about all the people that love you down there? I'm like, they're going to experience this one day too. They'll be all right. And it was wrong answer, and then shot back down. But there's a saying that I had anytime, in my prior life, anytime that the religion subject would come up, because I already expressed to you how I just didn't care. I don't want to talk about it. I had a very, what I thought was a cordial way to just shoot it down. Okay, let's stop talking about this. They'd be like, look, if that's what you believe, Jesus, Allah, Yahweh, whatever, great. I love it for you. I'm happy for you. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe in that shit, and I don't want to discuss it. I've got better things to do than sit around talking about things that I deem as nonsense. So that was the saying. I don't believe in that shit. So here I am. I'm up, and I have this light talking to me and say, do you want to stay? You want to stay? You can't stay. No, you can't stay. And then it rang through me. It seemed like a woman's voice that said it. But she said, remember, Nicolas, you don't believe in any of this shit. Oh my God. I still can't. Like, I still, it's hard to deal with. As soon as those words, remember, Nicholas, you don't believe in any of this shit. It's like somebody reached up inside me and just ripped my heart out. I felt so embarrassed and I felt so worthless. I felt like a bratty little kid who had been disobedient. Just shameful. Shameful. Okay. So now that I got that little short increment in the story, we'll go back to I'm a half mile up the street, it's really noisy, and bam, I'm somewhere else. The biggest thing that I remember after that is I'm back in my body and I'm hearing doot doot and like the hospital noises, and I open my eyes, and that girl that I had just convinced myself that I'm going to break up with her, she is standing over me and she's looking down on me and she's crying and she's frantically saying, calm down, calm down, calm down. It's going to be okay. They said it wasn't your fault. That guy pulled out in front of you. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm perfectly calm. I'm perfectly calm, like nothing happened. And I'm starting to realize, like, I was there and now I'm back here. And in this timeline right here, everything is horrible because I was just in this accident. And so I'm freaking out about, I was there, now I'm here. I was there, now I'm here. And then she's like wiping the tears off of her face. And she's just like, what did you, like, why did you do that? Or how did you do that? Or whatever. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? She was like, 2 minutes ago, you came out of your thing and were crying and speaking in tongues and reciting religious scripture and quoting the Bible and asking for repentance. And here's another thing too. My girlfriend, she was devout Catholic and I was devout. I don't give a shit. So when I was in the ICU and I start talking all this crazy stuff and start repenting, she recognizes this scripture from Bible because she's been learning it all her life. I had never picked up a Bible a day in my life, but that's what she said. She's like, you were just yelling and screaming and crying and asking God for forgiveness and reciting Bible scriptures. And I was like, well, was I? She was like, yeah, it was really weird. I was like, okay. Well, I don't feel anything. Like, I got all these people coming up to me and tell me how banged up I am and how bad of shape I am. I don't feel anything.